Well, we've had another mission that we've been fighting in Mississippi, and that's education. Tom Minyard, I am so sorry. I did everything except the right thing, and that is to get your bio. So Tom, would you please come up here and make up for my failings and talk about what we're doing in education for Mississippi, and tell about Mississippi Free, and tell about where we're going with that, and then tell us all about County Conservative Coalition.
I will do that.
This
Thank
is
you.
Tom Minyard, and I apologize.
This ain't about me. This is not about me. That's for sure. Well, I bring you greetings from DeSoto County, Mississippi. In particular, I bring you greetings from one lady named Brandy Carrero. We know her and love her as Mama Bear. She has been fighting the Common Core issue in Mississippi, not for days, not for weeks, not for months, but for years. Okay? And hell hath no fury like a woman scorned, let me tell you what. And she is our champion. She's a very, very active member of our DeSoto County Conservative Coalition. And she was unable to be here today. So you got a pinch hitter. And I want to apologize up front to you because I'm not the expert on things Common Core. But what I will be willing to do today is share with you what message she wanted me to communicate. And I will take the questions, and I know I won't be able to answer in enough detail, but I would want you to submit your questions, get them to me. We will get you the answer that you're looking for, okay? A little bit about me real quickly. I'm a Mississippi Delta boy, okay? I live in DeSoto County now, Hernando, Mississippi, but I was born and raised in Sunflower County, Mississippi. Recently had a pretty famous funeral there. You might have heard of a guy named D.D. King. His body now rests on the soil there at his museum there in my hometown of Minyard. I was actually born in Greenwood, the Floyd County Hospital, banks of the Yazoo River, and I've lived all over this country with my job. But you can't get that Delta gumbo and that Mississippi muddy water out of my veins. Once a Delta boy, always a Delta boy. We got a saying down there where I come from, you just don't mess with Delta boys, okay?
That's right.
I'm not big and mean and all that kind of stuff, but I tell you what, I'm a determined son of a gun. And once I get turned on to something, I just about can't let it go. I do want to, if you don't mind, mention real quickly, my wife would have definitely been here with me, but she's traveling with her job. She is the development director nationwide for a student leadership organization known as Team Pack. Anybody out there heard of Team Pack? Kind of kids that go with. My wife is a volunteer mother for that organization for a number of years. Started off in Mississippi. We moved to Arkansas. God moved us to Arkansas, and my oldest boy had been to the state class in Mississippi here in Jackson. And when he was 14, he's now 31. He'd been to the class, came back fired up, moved to Arkansas a couple of years later. And he said, when's the Team Pack class? Well, there wasn't one. Well, he and my wife got busy. There's a Team Pack class in the state of Arkansas now. And there's one in Missouri because of what my wife and my son did. One in Oklahoma got jump started. God moved us to Colorado with my job, and she rejuvenated that there. I moved down to Savannah, Georgia. There was a class in Georgia, that's where it started, but there was nobody from Savannah had ever been to the state capitol. Well, after being there for just a week, I'm gonna tell you, if you've never met my wife, you owe yourself the pleasure of getting to know that lady. She is a dynamic lady. She's the best part of me, I guarantee you. And I just want to send you greetings from her, and it encourage you, if you've never had a child or a grandchild as part of the Team Pack Student Leadership Schools, I would strongly suggest you check it out at TEENPACT.com, teampact.com, all one word. Real quick, I want to tell you that there have been hundreds and now thousands of students trained. It started in Georgia with a vision God gave a man named Tim Eccles, who's now the Public Service Commissioner in the state of Georgia, the founder, and it started with a prayer group and a vision of engaging the culture, the youth in this culture to get engaged and educated. And we'll talk a little bit about education in Mississippi in a minute, to get motivated to make a difference and impact the culture for Christ, because it's an overtly Christian organization. So if that offends you, you probably want to stay away from Team Pack. I got a feeling I'm among friends here today. There are two very young state legislators in the state of Oklahoma one Elise Hall and one Joshua Cockroft, who are been elected for 2 terms now in the state of Oklahoma legislature as 20-something-year-olds who are graduates of Team PAC. There is a young lady named Jennifer Sullivan, who's a new state rep in the state of Florida. She took on 4 or 5 adult males, doctors and lawyers and stuff, and wore them out and won a huge victory. And she is a state representative. So Team PAC, there's some fruit on the vine from that organization. So I'm going to get off of that now. I'm going to deliver to you the message that Brandy gave me for this meeting today. A recap of the 2015 legislative session. There were a total of 8 bills filed in the legislature during this past session, 4 of those being in the House and 4 in the Senate. Actually, there was a 5th one, and I'm going to mention that too. Brandy provided this to me last night, sometime after midnight, and I found it on my doorstep this morning. She is a tireless worker, let me tell you. House Bill 156 basically just revised the name of the Mississippi standards. Authors were Speaker Gunn, DeBar, Ladner, Baker, Powell, Weathersby, Jennings, Wanda Jennings from DeSoto County, Allday, Gene Allday from DeSoto County, Rogers and Mansour. The language of this bill simply pulled forward 2 current laws on the book and deleted the words Common Core State from each reference to the standards. Those words were replaced with Mississippi College and Career Readiness. So it went from Common Core State standards to Mississippi College and Career Readiness, so that the name would be changed and Mississippi would no longer have a Common Core. But that was just smoke and mirrors. That was not true. It's done in other states who have led the way, and those leaders thankfully made us aware of what to watch for. So we learned from others that they were trying to pull this bait and switch, saying, well, we're getting rid of Common Core. No, you're not. You're just changing the name. And still, you know, if it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. Okay, so that one was not successful. House Bill 510 established a commission to create new standards, authored by Representative Moore. This bill died in the Education Committee of the House. You know what's interesting about that? Who is the chairman of the Education Committee in the House? John Moore. So he authored a bill that he wouldn't even let come up out of the committee. Not sure why he would do that, but I have my suspicions that it's like, I'm taking some action, I'm doing something. Okay? House Bill 956 directed the State Board of Education to create new standards with the assistance of the Southern Regional Education Board. Authors were Curry, J. Smith, and Baker. This was a pretty good bill. Okay? It wasn't great, it was pretty good. It died in the House Education Committee. Never got out of committee. Seeing a theme here? Something that looks like it might be good, it's not getting very far. House Bill 1117 provided for the repeal of the Common Core State Standards. Author was Arnold. This bill died in the House Education Committee. I'm going to switch over to 4 bills in the Senate now. Senate Bill 2161 established a commission to review the Common Core State Standards. Author was Carmichael. This is the one that Governor Bryant eventually vetoed. A lot of us worked hard to lobby Governor Bryant to veto that bill. It was chopped up into pieces and then put back together. It was deceiving, and its final version was unacceptable. When we first started talking about amending it, we had hope that they were going to do something good with it. But what came out of it, and the final version of it, was definitely not acceptable to those who are sick and tired and want to get rid of Common Core. It would not do that. Now what's going to happen is that bill will be taken back up, because it was right at the end of the session, and they didn't call a special session to come back and for the legislature to deal with it. So come next session, that bill will be picked back up, and the House and Senate will have to deal with that. Senate Bill 2249 established a commission to recommend new standards. Author of that was Gray Tollison. As noted above on Moore's bill, not sure why the committee chairman would author a bill and then buried it, because he's the chairman of that committee in the Senate. Unless they just wanted what? What do you think it was? An illusion of doing something. An illusion of activity. You know what they're banking on? They're banking on the people that aren't here today. I know there are others like-minded who couldn't be here today. There are a lot of them who couldn't be here today, boy. There's a whole lot of others. Some of them are running for office, and they're campaigning like crazy right now. One of them is my friend who I'm helping run for state rep in DeSoto County. But there's a whole lot of people that aren't here. The vast majority of people are just not educated. They don't know what's going on. They're not clued in, and I don't know whether it's just apathy, ignorance, or what, but I got a feeling a lot of it is just Just total apathy. What a shame. One of the earlier speakers today mentioned that. I forget who talked about that. Just the fact that they just don't get out and vote. Okay, I think it was the guy right there. Is he still here? Senate Bill 2468 affirmed the parents' right to refuse and opt out of the Common Core State Standards initiatives related to requirements, that testing, data collection. Author was Michael Watson, and I can just tell you right now from everything I know, and I've gotten to know Senator Watson, if he's authored something, it's probably a pretty doggone good bill. Okay, he's one of the top guys in the state. What happened to Senate Bill 2468? Guess what? It died in the Senate Education Committee. And who's the chair of that committee? Ray Thomas. In the Senate. It's in the Senate now. John Moore's over in the House. Senate Bill 2690 prohibited the Common Core State Standards in part. Authors, Angela Burks Hill, Michael Watson, David Parker, Smith, Gandy, G. Jackson, Billingham, and Hudson. When you hear, there's that name Watson again, and there's David Parker from DeSoto County, Mississippi, a very honorable man, a very good legislator, in my opinion. Okay, he and I don't see eye to eye on everything. He ultimately voted for that Senate Bill 2161 that Governor Bryant vetoed. I had dialogue with him. I understand where he's coming from. I respect him because he had a conversation with me. I'm going to tell you, my own state senator never answered my question. Okay? But I reached out to Parker and he answered it. And I respect that. If people will tell you what they're doing and why they're doing it, even if you won't agree with them, I mean, that's what we want, right? We want people to be responsible to us and be honest with us and tell us. Anyway, this Senate Bill 2690 is the one we wanted. I think just about anybody in this room, if you knew what was in that, I can't quote it to you, but this is the one that Mama Bear, Brandy Ferrero, and Marcia Babb, and a bunch of others of y'all that were here on January the 6th. Governor Bryant showed up out here here at the Capitol. That one was the one that we really wanted. Had massive support statewide. People spent weeks calling, faxing, tweeting, mailing, emailing for this bill. It was buried in the Senate Education Committee. And I have it on good, I'm not going to name names, but I have it on good information that Lieutenant Governor Tate Reeves was in the background pulling the strings, getting the people to make sure that that bill stayed and died in committee, and it did not come up. Okay? And he was also pulling strings to try to get Senate Bill 2161, the one that eventually got vetoed, passed. So I'm here to tell you, and this is, I'm not representing anybody but Tom Minyard when I say this, okay? I'm not representing the DeSoto County Conservative Coalition, okay? Even though I'm wearing my name tag right now. And I'm not speaking for Mississippi Free, but I'm gonna tell you, I'm throwing my support 125% behind Alicia Nelson McElhenney, who had the guts to stand up and run against Tate Reeves. We need more people like this in this state. Okay? Well, you talk about a David and Goliath, or a Delilah versus Goliath, since we got a lady running. Let me tell you, I was speaking with her earlier during the lunch break, and people don't want to say they don't even want to take you serious unless you raise $100,000 like that. Well, I'm sick and tired of hearing that kind of mess. Okay? I'm just absolutely sick and tired. I understand you got to have money to campaign. You got to have money to get out and run TV ads, put gas in your tank, and all that kind of stuff. But if it's all about money, then we're just screwed.
That's right.
Okay? We're hosed. But I believe it's people like me and you that would get up and get our butts up off the couch and out of recliners and put on some comfortable shoes and walk the streets and knock the doors and campaign for good, honest people who have a clue and will listen to the people. And so pardon me for taking that time, right? No, I don't apologize. I just don't. Let me flip back to House Bill 464. It was authored by John Moore. This bill joined Mississippi back into the Education Commission of the states, referred to as the Compact for Education in the bill language. This is yet another Carnegie-created think tank located in Denver, Colorado. It's funded by your favorite guy, Bill Gates, the Walton family, Lumina, State Farm, and GE. Does that all those kind of ring a bell with something? What does it ring a bell with? What's that say? Follow the money. Some of the same who funded the Common Core State Standards Initiative. They're partners of the ACT, the College Board, Pearson, and we just all love Pearson. If you've been following anything about education and the Common Core, you're learning to hate Pearson, okay? And Scholastic, also involved in the Common Core State Standards Initiative. It began in 1967. They authored legislation for states. So you got this Carnegie-funded think tank located out in Denver, Colorado, backed up by billionaires and gazillionaires, and they're authoring legislation for the states. Now, what kind of legislation do you think they're going to author? You think it might circle back and put a little money in their pockets, just possibly? The idea is for each state to pass similar legislation so they can help them in doing so by providing the language for the bills. This is a problem because clearly that is not state-led, and that is how we ended up with Common Core in the first place. We have begun researching this, but are still in the process of learning the history and purpose of this commission. What we have learned so far is troubling. They help the states line up with the federal agenda so that legislation can appear to be state-led. Okay, it's just that same old thing of people, they create a distraction over here, watch this, and get you thinking and talking and wasting time and all that stuff while they're reaching around over here and picking your pockets with the other hand. We don't want to fall for that. I feel very comfortable with our Mama Bear, Brandon Guerrero, Marshall Babb, and others in DeSoto County who are clued in and know what's going on, and they are in the fight. They're keeping us apprised of what's going on. The best part is, I found out that Senate Bill 2161 is on their website. So they've even latched on to that bill that the governor Governor Bryant did eventually veto. There were several other bills passed in the legislature last year, found on their site also. Those dealt with taking over school districts, funding charters, and appointing school boards. I'm just telling you, anytime there's this gazillionaire type foundation funded by people who make money by getting states to do things that they're bidding, we need to be very, very aware of this. If you don't have somebody in your local community, if you don't have somebody in your organization that you're a member of and associated with that's clued in on what's going on in the legislature in Mississippi, I would encourage you, there is a Mississippi Free website, there's a Mississippi Free Facebook page. That's Mississippi Families for Restoring Excellence in Education. That's what Mississippi Free stands for. So everyone concerned with education in Mississippi needs to be watching our involvement in this group for sure. Now, where do we go from here? First, we must find candidates to support and encourage across the states. If you aren't already doing so, find somebody in your local county that's running for school board, your department, your superintendent of education, your state representative, your state senator, whomever. Find them. Find those who get it, understand this, and think like we do. Find them and support them. Okay? It's too late to get some. If you don't have one in this go round, we're going to have to wait 4 more years. So what we got to do in the future is start finding them and getting them in the game soon enough. We got to start raising them up. And I tell you, wherever Elijah is, boy, I'm telling you, but those kind of young people coming up, I'm encouraged. I'm encouraged in this country, in this nation, when we have people who are engaged like that and educated. Okay, it does not matter what part of the state you're in. See, sometimes we get into this thing, well, they're not my state rep. Okay, I get it. Okay, they're not your state rep. But guess what? They got to vote just like your guys got. This gentleman on the front, what's your name, sir? Bill
Marcy.
Bill Marcy, you're running for
State Senate.
State Senate, and you're in Warren County, Issaquah, Vicksburg area, okay? I can tell you by him being here today and wearing that beautiful red button right there, I got a feeling I would be 110% in his corner, okay? So I used to live in Vicksburg for about 20 some odd years. I still know a lot of people. I'm going to reach out on your behalf because if God would bless us with your presence in the state legislature, we got another voice here that thinks like we do. Okay, so if you don't have one in your county, in your district, find one in the next district over, find one somewhere else to help support, okay? Because they all got just one vote themselves. So let's don't get just locked into just our own neighborhood, okay? Because they can all be an asset in this movement to fight and rid. The ultimate goal is for Common Core to just go away, just do away. We need, ladies and gentlemen, in our state legislature and in our lieutenant governor seat, and our governor seat, we need those individuals who think like we do and will get rid of it. It will absolutely do what it takes to get rid of it. That's the part about that. Educate yourself now so that you can be ready to help educate and encourage others in the upcoming session. Connect with others in your area. Connect with others online. Feeling part of a group is imperative, okay? Because sometimes, you know, if you feel like you're just fighting alone, it can get discouraging. It really can. Just ask Henry Ross. He run for Congress a couple of different times. He and I thought I worked as hard as I knew how to work, Henry. I apologize for any shortcomings I had that had anything to do with you not being successful. But I'll tell you what, you can do. So it's important to be part of a group and work together. The people made a few statements this past session. Common Core is sweeping the polls. It is a hot topic. As far as I know, it's still the #1 polling topic in all the debates going on around for state legislators and representative seats in the state. If not for the passion of individuals across the state, that would not be so. During the 2014 legislative session, only 3 bills were filed in the entire legislature regarding Common Core. Last session, we only had Watson, Hill, Smith, Sojourner, McDaniel, and Gandy doing anything about it. This was not the case in 2015. This upcoming session, those in Jackson will know that we read the bills. We researched them from other states. We compare them and watch every change along the way. We are not asleep. We are awake, and we will be heard. That is the message from Mama Bear, Randy Guerrero. Can I have just another couple of minutes, and I'll get on the conservative coalitions. She hit on it, and I wanted to emphasize it too, that it matters who we send to Jackson, okay? Not just if they're not in your district, find and support others and get them elected. We've got to have state legislators, representatives and senators who are educated, okay? And we need constitutional-minded sheriffs in our own communities, okay? That one gentleman spoke earlier, he is dead on. A constitutional-minded sheriff is your last line of defense as a sovereign citizen of this nation. And if your sheriff, your local elected sheriff doesn't think like that, it might be time, you ought to think about finding time to find somebody that does think like that and support them and get them elected. Have a dialogue with the sheriff. What we need in this country is a revolution, okay? But not necessarily with guns and bullets. I pray to God it never comes to that again, like it had to happen in 1776. We need a revolution of education. We need to awake the electorate. The people I'm talking here, I'm preaching to the choir, okay? Y'all all know what I'm talking about, but you know people that we don't know, that I don't know, that aren't in the fold yet, so to speak. It happens on the ground. Okay, Jesus Christ changed this world through a dozen men, and he spent 3 years on the face of this earth, basically 3.5 years with a dozen men, and the world was turned upside down by that 101, okay? And we can have a similar effect by talking and working with people. When you believe in something so much and you can communicate that to somebody else, it's going to impact them. It's going to make a difference in their life. Laura mentioned the Conservative Coalition movement. Last year, let me just confess to you, going into the Senate election with McDaniel versus Thad Cochran, I knew coming up, before I started researching anything, I had finally awakened to the fact that, 40 plus years in Washington, D.C. is probably just a little bit too long for anybody to be there, okay? For a long time, I never believed in term limits because I said, we got it. It's called a ballot box. I've awakened to the fact that it don't work, okay? For 2 primary reasons. Reason number one is man has a sin nature. And you can send the most virtuous person. You can send Henry Ross, whom I believe in greatly. I know him to be a godly man, and I know him to be a constitutional conservative, but I guarantee you, he'd tell you that he wouldn't want to be there 20 or 30 years. Because I don't care who, it's not good. It's not meant to be, and you can't survive in that kind of environment for that long, okay? And I think I said 2 things, and then I forgot what the other one was. The bottom line is that sin nature, and it's just the machine, just the grind of being there. okay, and the pressure and the way things work, it's just not meant to be, okay? So what happened is I said, I made a decision, Dad Cocker needed to go, in my opinion. So I was gonna vote from whomever. I didn't care who they were. But I don't like being like that. I don't want to be against somebody. I want to be for somebody. So in Walmart parking lot last March, cold and windy, I had a conversation with Chris McDaniel. And I decided right then and there that this guy's on to something. I think he thinks a whole lot like I do, okay? He's talking like Ronald Reagan used to talk, and that rung a bell with me. So I got on board and said, I'm going to work for him. And I never in my bazillion years thought I would ever see what happened in that election last year. I was disgusted, repulsed, mad. I was mad, as we say, mad as a wet hen. I can't believe what happened. I finally was shaken out of my lull of thinking that anybody that had an R behind their name was actually a pretty good person. I understood it, I longer. I tell you what, I follow a lady named Chris Ann Hall who's teaching me a lot about the Constitution and the roots of our liberty. Okay, she's a great lady. Liberty over security, principle over party, and truth over personalities are your favorite politician. Okay, this ain't about party stuff anymore. This is about principle. And so we got frustrated. And in August of last year, a couple of guys that got tired of throwing stuff at their television, a guy named Steve Hopkins, who's running for state representative in DeSoto County, another guy named Lee Jenkins, said, we got to get together and do something. You know, just complaining and arguing and sitting on the couch and fussing ain't getting it done. So they called a meeting, and I heard about it, and a handful of, I think 20 or 30 of us showed up. I don't know if you were there that night, Robin, or not. An organizational meeting, and somebody asked me to have an opening prayer. And just God put it on my heart, and I don't remember exactly what I said, but it was, Lord, we're angry. But Lord, we can't stay angry. Nothing of anger lasts. Turn our emotions into a positive direction. Let us do something to move forward and bind together positive. Something along that effect. Well, next thing you know, they elect me chairman of this conservative coalition, and they're stuck with me for a little while. I'm honored to do that. It is not about me. But we have a lot of good stuff happening, and I would encourage you, if there's a conservative coalition and they're popped up all around the state, there's some here I know in Madison, you know, in Rankin County, and others that are working together. We're trying to work together collectively. But you know, it's about having these, and that's why I appreciate Laura putting this together, this agreed agenda. We'll never agree 100% on every little policy issue. There's different factions and groups of people, but we're all, I think everybody I'm talking to today loves this nation. I think they love this Constitution, and we want to get back to constitutional limited government, and that's the thing that kind of binds us together with all these different topics. Our next meeting is on Monday, July the 6th. There's an open invitation to Alicia Nelson McElhenney. I don't know whether her calendar will allow her to be there, but if she is, she can. And whomever's here for Mike Hurst, who's running for Attorney General, right? I would like to extend an invitation to him. It's on Monday, 6 July. We meet at 6 o'clock. Fellowship Hall, a church where I serve as a deacon, Grace Bible Church. So let's get together after this and talk a little bit more. Another thing I want to encourage you with is, if you've never heard of a college, it's called Hillsdale College. They have a Constitution 101 online course. Excellent. I'm going through it right now. Education. This is all about the education piece. I will tell you that I have reached out to Chris Ann Hall. We hosted her in our church in September 2013. She did a Roots of Liberty seminar. We probably had 150 to 200 people there. I decided it was time for her to come in and give a refresher course. We've got some more people awakened after that Senate race last year, and in the congressional race this year. We're energized and motivated. You put this on your calendar. April the 14th, 2016. I tried to get her this summer. She's booked so far in advance. That's as soon as I could get her. April the 14th, 2016. Things tax day -1. I mean, that's all I realize, that 15th of April, we all, that's a day that we all resonate with. At Grace Bible Church in Olive Branch, Mississippi. She will be there again. And I want to broadcast this. We'll put some radio stuff out. We will make it known widely. I would encourage you to avail yourself. It's on a Thursday. It's not convenient for people to travel You know what? You take vacations. I've learned to do a couple things in life, you know. People have money to do what they want to do, and they have the time to do what they want to do. It's just a matter of priority. So, in case I didn't give you fair one, you got plenty of time to get ready to come to Olive Branch on April 14, 2016. I'm going to wrap up with this. You know, I'm almost 57 years old. No man knows the day that he's going to be called home. It's appointed unto man once to die and then the judgment. I don't know how many years I got left. It'd be real easy for me to just sit down and say, what the heck? It's too hard. I ain't got enough time left to make a difference. 2 weeks ago, I lost my daddy. He was almost 80. A quiet man. A man who talked more by his actions than by his words. A little over a year ago, God gave me a grandson. 5 generations of Thomas Minyard in a row. I am a blessed man. Very blessed. I will continue this fight as long as there's breath in my body. Now I have 2 great motivations. I have a grandson who I want to have a future that looks a lot different than where this country's going right now. And I want to honor my father and what he did and the way he lived his life. I want to give everything I got to secure the blessings of liberty from my grandson and another grandchild that's coming in December now. And others to come, God bless them. And honor my father as a testimony to what he taught me in my life. That's my motivation. Whatever yours is, find it. Go to that. Use that to keep yourself in the fight. It's easy. Anybody can quit. A dead fish can go downstream. Okay? It takes some effort. It takes some motivation. It takes some courage. It takes some commitment. But we need one another to encourage one another. Benjamin Franklin was asked after they came out of that Constitutional Manual, said, what kind of government do we have? He said, what? A republic. What? If you can keep it. Let's keep it. Let's do what we can. 2 quotes and I'll get off of here. I've been up here too damn long. Samuel Adams said, the liberties of our country, the freedom of our civil constitution are worth defending against what? All hazards. It is our duty to defend them against all attacks. Folks, our representatives that go to Washington and our senators that go to Washington have long since lost sight of what the Constitution intended them to do. Our representatives are supposed to be the guardians of liberty for us, the citizens, and our senators are supposed to be the guardians of state sovereignty for our states. You think that's happening right now? Nope. That ain't what's going on. And it's not going to change if we do something about it. The last thing I'll say is this. While it is important, it is absolutely critical who we send to Jackson, and who we send to Washington, D.C. More importantly, we will not succeed without the help of Almighty God. This is spiritual warfare. We wrestle not against flesh and blood. When we're looking at people and we're fighting against people, it's a battle of ideas. It's a fight for the mind, okay, and the hearts and souls of men and women. It's spiritual warfare. So we can't leave out prayer. Because here's what's happening in our country. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'll just read one verse out of Romans 1, chapter 28. And since they did not see fit to acknowledge God, God gave them up to a debased mind to do what ought not to be done. That's what we're dealing with. So we need to get educated about Common Core in this state. We need to get educated about what's true constitutional governance. And we need to find others like-minded like it's in this room today. And we need to work together to give everything we got and to fight for an educational revolution so that I can keep my gun in the holster. Yeah. But I'll tell you, it'll be a cold day in a hot place before they take my gun away without all the bullets being shot at it. All right.